My name is David Vogelpohl. I come from Austin, Texas. I run an agency called Clique. We do two things. We help people with web development, a lot in WordPress, and with running their online marketing campaigns, and in particular, their affiliate marketing campaigns. And so what we do every day is help people spin up new campaigns on WordPress using all kinds of tools. And again, a lot of this is through an affiliate context. I've been at this about 17 years, and so what I'm going to be doing today is sharing you some of the tips that I've acquired over those years for running your WordPress sites for affiliate marketing. I'm also co-presenting with Jeremy Palmer, and I'll let him say a little bit about himself. I think you can use that mic if you'd like, Jeremy.
Testing. Looks like it works. Great. So my name is Jeremy Palmer. I am also from Austin, Texas, though I originally hail from Salt Lake City, Utah. I've been an affiliate marketer for the last 10 years. I've built probably over 100 websites on the WordPress platform, and so it's pretty much my de facto choice for building new sites and businesses. So that's why we decided to do this session, combine our WordPress experience, and hopefully give you guys some gems of knowledge.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. So I did want to remind everyone today to use the hashtag ASE14 for our session. If you could also use the hashtag WordPress, we'd really appreciate it. I speak about WordPress optimization at a lot of places, PubCon, WordCamp, and I'll tell you one thing, that the WordPress people have affiliates beat with tweeting. So your goal today is to beat them at tweeting. If you look at the bit.ly URL here on the bottom of the screen, you can actually see all of our tweets. We have auto tweets set up to go out throughout the presentation with all the links and everything. So if you don't get to write something down, just go to that link and you'll see all the tweets. And for the person that tweets the most today, we'll be checking this after the presentation and connecting with you through Twitter, and we will send you one of these. It is a Muse headband. It's a mind-reading headband. It connects to an app. It's really cool. One of the good things about running an agency is your clients give you all kinds of cool free stuff, so I decided to hit them all up and give away prizes to our audience. And we'll also be asking questions throughout the day. These are people we run affiliate programs for. It's a lot of fun, and it gets us good prizes for stuff like this. All right, so we've split the presentation essentially into two sections. The first section is WordPress tips for everyone. So really anyone running a WordPress site for affiliate marketing can use these tips. And then the second section are going to be niche specific. So things like coupon sites, review sites, certain types of sites you might be running as an affiliate. So to start things off, we're going to talk about how to pick a web host. This is something that I get questioned on a lot, and so what I'm going to do is kind of run down the three types of hosts and what you get out of each, and then make some recommendations on who you might want to check out. The first would be value hosts. So these are hosts that are going to be, maybe in the $5 to $10 a month range. Very affordable, reliable. Can have reliability issues depending on the host that you pick. You guys have probably experienced this with some cheaper hosts before. I didn't put the hosts I'm going to recommend here because I don't necessarily am saying that those folks have particular reliability issues, but I just wanted to say in general, when you pick a cheaper hosting account, that's something to watch out for. Speed can also be an issue if it's a shared hosting plan and there's a lot of people on the server. But they're great for new sites. So if you're launching something new and you don't want to spend a lot of money on your hosting environment, go with the cheaper hosting plan. Or if you have a low revenue site, something, you have hundreds of sites or something, and you're just wanting to kind of keep it off to the side without spending a lot of money. The next type of hosting account you're going to run across is a managed hosting account. So these are hosts or even divisions within a host that specialize almost exclusively on WordPress. Now, the great thing about these hosts, generally they're going to be a little more expensive, so they're not quite as affordable as the value hosts. They can tend to be very reliable. Again, that's going to be host specific, but the ease of use is extremely high with a managed host. All of their systems, all of the back end, and oftentimes all of their infrastructure is optimized around WordPress. And it makes it a lot easier, especially if you don't have the technical talent yourself or someone on your team that does. A managed host will give you a lot of tools for managing WordPress that you won't have through kind of like a standard shared host. And of course, there's no server management with managed hosts. The second type of hosting account that you might want to look at is dedicated and VPS. Generally, they're going to be the least affordable of the three tiers. They tend to be very reliable. The ease of use is very difficult though, mainly because it's up to you to install, generally up to you to install all the software on the server for running your sites. The value to that though is that you have near complete control over what you do with your server. Dedicated and VPS hosts are great if you're running different types of sites. So if you have a WordPress and a Magento and TypePad and multiple types of sites, you can actually host them all on the same server. But again, normally you're going to have a developer to help you with that type of hosting environment. And again, no assignment of reliability or speed on any of these, but these are the hosts we recommend if you are looking for each tier. So for value, HostGator, and I know those guys are here and exhibiting. They're a great host, and they also do dedicated and VPS. And as a matter of fact, a lot of these hosts kind of span the different tiers. SiteGround, same thing. On the managed side, there's WP Engine and Synthesis. There's also ZippyKid and Pagely, which are also decent managed hosts. On the dedicated and VPS side, Rackspace, Cadero, and Amazon Web Services are the ones we're recommending. So if you're having trouble picking a host, check these out. These are hosts we use, and at least in terms of my agency and our customers, and they actually do a really good job. The next thing we're going to talk about is frameworks, essentially the framework behind how you build your site. And actually, Jeremy's going to cover the framework section.
Thanks, David. So I just want to piggyback a little bit off what David was talking about also with the hosts. For 90% of customers out there, a budget host will probably meet all of their needs. So really consider that as you're setting up your budget for your affiliate business. Do I really need this next level hosting? Because I've found in most of the sites that I've developed that a budget host works out best. But going into the frameworks now, there's essentially 3 types of frameworks. And the first one that I want to talk about is called a naked framework. This is basically a bare bones theme that you can use to develop a very custom site on top of. So for example, if you're developing a unique client site and you want to have kind of a specialized design, or you're building something a little bit more robust and you don't want all of the bells and whistles that come with some of the more advanced frameworks, which I'll be talking about in just a moment, then I highly recommend using one of these naked frameworks. And the best one out there is called Underscores, and you can just Google it, just go to Underscores, type in Underscores, and what you'll find is that it's basically, there's no styling whatsoever, very basic, but it's easy to build on top of and bolt on a custom style and do all the things that you need to do. The next type of framework that I want to talk about is what we consider a professional framework, and probably the best example of this is Genesis. Who here has heard of Genesis before? Okay, great. And how many people are using Genesis out there? Awesome. It looks like they got some good traction here. So the nice thing about using something like Genesis is that if you do want to have something that's kind of out of the box, ready to go, that's optimized for WordPress, it's probably the best platform out there. The SEO is automatically built in. A lot of the development hooks and things that you might use for customization later, it's very agile. It's very easy to kind of bolt onto. So it's a little bit more themed, if you will, than one of the naked frameworks, but it also has quite a bit of flexibility. And then I want to give you a quick preview that we're going to be going over some application frameworks later in this session. There's an application framework for every type of affiliate business model that you can think of. Coupon frameworks, review frameworks, membership sites, everything that you can imagine. And so this is one of the reasons, again, that we highly recommend WordPress, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel by building a custom site from scratch. You can have something out of the box that you can make a few clicks, make a couple of tweaks or customizations, and have a full-blown business ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to David for a moment to talk more.
And sorry for all the flipping back and forth. Jeremy and I decided it was better to split the content rather than our presentations, because we wanted to focus on general WordPress tips for everyone and the niche specific tips. And so the next thing I'm going to cover is how to pick a plugin. Very rarely do I see people talk about WordPress optimization and talk about this. And it's probably one of the most important things that you can know when you manage your WordPress site, and one of the biggest mistakes people make. We help people recover from WordPress outages, server performance, things that are website performance, security issues, and I mean, I don't know the ratio, but maybe 7-8 times out of 10, it's a misbehaving plugin. So I'm going to talk to you about how to pick plugins effectively and know that you're picking a technology partner for your business that makes sense. Before I do that, though, I do want to give away one of my prizes here. So I will ask a question. This is Loop Pay. It's a charge case that lets you pay with your phone at like 90% of credit card machines. It's actually super cool. I use it all the time. 8 out of 10 of the clerks I use it on actually like say something about it. But the question is, for this fabulous prize, in what state was WordPress developed? Just shout it out. Yes, sir. Texas, congratulations, you won the prize. Mr. Lehau here, our lovely assistant. Lehau, can you take this to the gentleman there in the back? And that's actually really cool, I use it all the time. So how to pick a plugin. Really what you want to do, so there's kind of two types of plugins out there. There are plugins that are going to be in the WordPress directory at wordpress.org under the plugins tab. I know it's a little small for people in the back, but if you're picking out a plugin from wordpress.org or if a friend recommends a plugin, what I usually do first is go search for it on wordpress.org. And when I find it, I want to check out the big 5. And we'll go through these one by one. So the big 5, and by the way, if they're not listed in WordPress.org, because someone can make a plugin and just give you the code for the plugin without actually being in the directory, but you want to look for the same kind of information on their website or wherever else you can find it, but WordPress.org makes it really easy. So the first one is changelog. This is a log of all the changes that the developer has made. So when your friend recommends such and such plugin, or a guy like me gets on stage and recommends it, how often are they updating that plugin? Are they making security updates? Are they making feature updates? How long has it been? If it's been a while, if the updates are kind of light, then that might not be a plugin you want to trust. Because what happens is, I mean, guys, I make plugins. I know other speakers here make plugins and things like that. If it doesn't work out, if people don't adopt it, if they don't buy it, guess what we do with it? We abandon it. Meanwhile, you're building your business around something that's been abandoned. And so the changelog will essentially show you how frequently they're updating it and what they're updating. So watch for that, read what they're doing in the updates, and if you see that they're active with it, then you can have more confidence to align your business with that plugin. The next tab is stats, and this will show you the popularity of the plugin over time. And one thing I'll see from time to time is they'll have a big spike a couple of years ago, and then it'll peter off into nothing. And so again, that could be a clue that there's something fundamentally wrong with the plugin. Picking a plugin is more than just about picking the features. It's about, again, kind of aligning yourself with their plugin and their development. The second one is the third one is the support tab. This will show you how often and within what time frame they're responding to support requests. So again, if I make a plugin and throw it in the directory and I kind of forget about it because it's not making me money or not doing what I thought it would do, then I might not be answering the support requests. And this is a real thing that happens all the time. They basically abandon plugins, and the plugin or support tab will give you a clue as to whether they're actually helping their customers out or not. Because the worst thing in the world is to go, put a plugin in that accomplishes some feature, design your strategy and business around it, and then have it, crap out and you not be able to do anything about it, especially if you don't have developers. You can also go to the developers tab. This will show you the actual people and sometimes the companies who have built the plugin. You can see other plugins they've built, a little bit about them. When you pick out a piece of software to go on your site, I mean, there's a lot of trust that goes into that, not just from your business, but security and performance. So you want to see, are these professional plugin developers? Is there a company behind them? Like, who are these guys that are making this thing you're about to install on your site? Because that can be a really big deal. And then the final one is reviews, and I won't talk too much about that because I think you guys all know how to read reviews. All right, next thing we're going to cover from a general WordPress perspective is SEO. This is another thing I hear a lot. What's the best plugin for SEO? As of today, and certainly this can change in the future, there is no question. WordPress SEO by Yoast is the best plugin for WordPress. It allows you to do the WordPress metadata, like the SEO metadata, like the title and the description. It allows you to handle like no index tags, the way your robots.txt is written, a bunch of other features I don't have time to go into right here. But if you're looking for a plugin for SEO, WordPress SEO by Yoast is the best. It is also the only one that I've seen within the last, I don't know, say 2 to 3 years that has been consistent with creating accurate sitemaps for Google. There's some popular SEO plugins I won't mention that have had some problems with that have corrected it, but Yoast is really on top of their game for making sure their plugin is in shape and secure. There was another huge security hole in another plugin, again, I won't mention their name, but Yoast SEO is consistent with security, with sitemaps, and all the features that you need to optimize your site. So we've talked about how to pick a host, we've talked about how to pick a framework for building your site. We'll get more into that later in the niche specific stuff. We talked about SEO and how to pick a plugin. Now we're going to talk about security and management, and I'm going to turn the mic back over to Mr. Palmer here to do that.
So just wanted to talk a little bit more also about what David mentioned with plugins. He gave some really good advice for finding the best plugins. However, I have kind of an overall theme that I basically keep to when I use plugins on my site, and that is less is better. The more plugins that you have on your site, the slower it's going to run, because every time a page loads, basically it has to load all of those plugins. So if you can minimize the number of plugins to the most essential, the ones that you absolutely need, your site's going to run a lot faster. You're going to be less susceptible to security flaws and things like that. So let me go ahead and talk now about some essential WordPress security, and this is basically something that everybody in this room who runs a WordPress site needs to do. Number one is you need to make sure that you're always logging in with HTTPS, and basically why this is so important is if you're ever in a Starbucks or on some kind of a public network and you log into your admin area and you're logging in without HTTPS, your password is sent over clear text over that entire network, so it makes you highly vulnerable. The other thing that I highly recommend, because WordPress can also be susceptible to brute force attacks, that's basically where somebody goes in and just tries a bunch of random passwords very quickly, is use a difficult password. And really, you should never be using something that's like, oh, you know, my birthday plus my last name or whatever that has real words in it that could be easy to crack, because there's these huge databases of kind of predictable passwords, if you will, and it's been shown that people can crack a common password, even one that you think is somewhat safe, in a matter of an hour or less, just by brute forcing it. They could try like 1 million attempts, as much as that server can handle anyway. So you want to make sure that you use a long random password. And the password manager that I recommend is called LastPass. If you're not using this, this is an essential plugin that you need to have for your browser and for your phone, because it makes you that much more secure. You don't have to remember any of your passwords. You have one master password, and then it secures all of your other passwords. The other bad thing that you can do, of course, is use the same password over and over, one for your email, you know, and use that same one for WordPress and all these other places, because what you'll find is you'll get compromised on one site, like let's say Yahoo, for example, right? They've been hacked dozens of times in the last few years. You're using that same Yahoo password on your WordPress site, all of a sudden your WordPress site is compromised. Unique password for every single site, make it difficult, use LastPass. The other thing that I want to recommend is doing a security scan. Now, you don't have to do these often, but you should probably, whenever you hear about a new plugin update, or you know that there's a core update to WordPress, running a security scan is sometimes a good idea. And the best place to do it is to go to sitecheck.security.net. They offer this service for free. They have some premium services that allow you to do like regular scans on your blog. So if you have had a history of being hacked and you feel that that your site is more vulnerable for one reason or another, one of their premium subscriptions may make more sense for you. And then I also recommend kind of an all-in-one security solution, and that would be the WordFence plugin. This basically just hardens your WordPress installation a little bit. It also does a security scan to make sure that there's no files that have been tampered with or anything irregular with your WordPress installation. So check that out. All right, so then I want to quickly talk about some essential WordPress maintenance. Thankfully, the WordPress core team has made it very easy to keep core up to date. I think the default now is to basically update core within 24 hours anytime there's like a major security vulnerability or anything like that. So you really don't typically have to worry about the WordPress core too much. But what you do have to worry about on a somewhat regular basis is the plugins. Those are the ones that tend to become out of date and need to be upgraded on a regular basis. So let's talk a little bit about backups, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how to keep your plugins and whatnot up to date. So WP Engine Snapshot is a simple plugin that basically backs up all of your files and backs up your WordPress database. Most hosts come pre-configured with this if they're using cPanel or something like it. So I highly recommend that you have this going. Back it up every 24 hours, or if you're not posting that frequently, once a week would do. But this is a good plugin to use. And then of course there's also the cPanel Backup Wizard, which again, it does essentially the same thing that the WP Engine Snapshot does. It just backs up the files and backs up the database. So there's two ways there that make backups a cinch. And then the other thing that I recommend, if you've got a little bit more of a budget and you're looking for a more robust backup and security solution, would be VaultPress and BackWP Up. So basically how these work is, instead of backing everything up locally to your host, they back it up to a remote server in the cloud. And the advantage of that is, like, let's say that your host goes down and they lose a drive, and all of your files, your database backups and everything were on that drive. Well, it is possible, if you hadn't saved that locally at some point or whatever, that you could be completely wiped out. Now, most hosts have contingency plans to avoid that, but again, it can be a pain in the ass to try to restore that and bring it back, whereas VaultPress is just automatically takes an entire image of your WordPress site. You can restore that image, and it's like 2 clicks to get back to where you were. And then the other thing that I recommend is keeping up to date on your site with Managed WP. This is the one that will go in and regularly check and make sure that your plugins are up to date and that basically your WordPress installation is safe.
Awesome. I'm glad you mentioned LastPass. One other feature of LastPass is you can actually share your password with other people and not show them your password. That's fantastic when you're having people help you with stuff, because you can share it with them and it'll hide the password from them and they can still log in and do stuff, and then of course you can shut it off later. We love it. We use it in our company all the time. So one hole I see in a lot of WordPress sites we deal with affiliates is Google Analytics and tracking clicks. I don't know why a lot of affiliates don't track clicks through Google Analytics, but if you're an affiliate and you're driving traffic to advertisers, short of getting a development team or working with your merchants or your networks, and of course if you're spanning merchants and networks, it gets even harder. How many people are clicking on those ads? If you're tracking things through EPC, and hopefully you're tracking through EPM, earnings per impression or earnings per click, you still need to be tracking the clicks that you're getting on those ads and where they're coming from. And so one of the reasons I think people don't tend to not do it, especially new people, is because it's kind of technical. You got to know a little bit about HTML to do it. But what I did was I gave you a bit.ly link here, bit.ly/event hack. This is a tool that's made by Raven. And all you have to do is select the drop-down for affiliate link, fill in it's called the category, action, label, and value. It's little tags that say what the link is about, and then you click submit, and it gives you the code to put around your links, and even gives you an example of how to put it around your links. If you've done any HTML at all, if you've messed around with the HTML link code, images, things like that, just even the very most basic part of HTML, you can use this tool to track your clicks on particular ads, text links, anything within inside of Google Analytics. And then down here in the bottom, I have 2 links to custom reports I made just for affiliates, just for this presentation, that you can go to this link right now if you're logged into Google Analytics and install it in your Google Analytics. And what it will do is it will tell you, the source report will tell you how many clicks on those affiliate links or those events that you get from each source of traffic. And I think it even dives down in the campaign level and things like that. And then the same type of report for your landing pages. So you'll be able to tell how many clicks on your affiliate links came from a particular landing page or a particular source of traffic. Now you can click edit at the top of those reports when you inject them in to customize it for your stuff a little bit. But for the most part, they'll work once you have the event set up using the event hack link. And that's actually it for the general WordPress optimization tips. The next thing we're going to dive into is the niche specific tips. But before we go into that, I'm going to give away one more of my little prizes. And by the way, I'm totally bribing you guys. We were the 5th top rated session last time at Affiliate Summit, and so this is total bribery and shameless bribery. And everyone I give it to has got to give us 10s on all our reviews. But no, I'm just kidding. So the question this time, we asked before, what state was WordPress developed in? So this question is, who is the founder, the person that wrote WordPress? What is that gentleman's name? Yes, sir. You can come up and get this. You want a basis watch? It's the world's most advanced health tracker. It's kind of like Nike Fuel Band on crack or something, but it's pretty cool. All right, so for the niche specific, Mr. Jeremy's going to talk about coupon tools because he is Mr. Coupon Affiliate Guy, and he knows everything there is to know about that.
So, David, thanks again for talking about the Google Analytics tracking because that is absolutely key to being a successful affiliate. So many affiliates simply just rely on the network reporting, which is so weak because it doesn't tell you anything about the source or the referral, where that traffic came from, and kind of the behavior that they had on the site. So don't rely just on affiliate network reports. Make sure that you dive in and install these links. Like David mentioned, it's like one-click setup so that you can get this tracking going on your sites. So the first thing that I want to talk about is if you have interest in becoming a coupon affiliate, you want to leverage some tools to make it really easy to syndicate coupons on your site, I've got some really great tools that are going to help you out. The first one is basically called Clipper, and this is a full-on theme for WordPress, which is very easy to install and customize, that allows you to run a coupon site. So you can actually set up stores, you can set up coupons, you can customize the appearance of it really well. You can change the behavior of how the coupon is displayed to the user, whether or not it's actually revealed or it's hidden. And this is the tool that if you're really thinking about doing a full-blown coupon site that I recommend. There's a couple of sub-themes or child themes that people have built for Clipper that are even more attractive than the out-of-the-box Clipper theme that I recommend. And so check that out if you're looking on being a coupon affiliate. Now, if you're looking to maybe incorporate coupons into your website, but maybe it's a niche review site or it's a product comparison site, but you still want access to all those coupons. I highly recommend a service called For Me to Coupon. These guys make integrating coupons into your site easy. They have a WordPress plugin that can automatically bring in coupons, so you can basically select your merchants that you want to work with. You can select the deals that you want, and you can determine how you want them displayed on your site. And the nice thing about this is that they maintain that database of coupons for you. So I found that one of the biggest challenges, I run a site called Coupon Tiger, one of the biggest challenges for my site was keeping up on all of those coupons, right? I mean, there's 10,000 merchants out there. There's, I think, 40,000 deals in the off season, that are being published out there. During Q4, when it's even busier, there will be up to 100,000 or maybe a little bit more than that. So it's just impossible to keep up on all of that. So if you use a service like For Me to Coupon, they'll go out to all of the networks. They'll, scan and do whatever they can to find those online and put them all in one consolidated place for you. So they have services that range from just a simple WordPress plugin, if you just want to run a few deals on your site, to full-on XML feed where you can customize it and do like really advanced things with it. I use the service, been a customer for over a year now, highly recommend it. So for those of you who are looking to start a review site, WordPress is probably the ideal platform. And the reason for that is that all of the cool things that make your review site stand out, like user ratings and the star ratings and all of the micro formats, which are basically those cool little stars and things that you see when you go to Google, when you type in keyword /review or whatever. All of those things tend to be built into some of these plugins that I'm going to be talking about. So there's themes and there's plugins when it comes to review sites, and really what you choose to do is kind of up to you in terms of like what your overall strategy for your site is. For me, I kind of go the plugin route because my site is a little bit more than just a review site, right? I've got like a blog on it. I've got some other sections that I need to, I don't want one specific theme kind of controlling, the overall WordPress flow for me. I like to have that flexibility. So if you're going to use a WordPress theme, just Google, top WordPress review themes, and there's a lot of different people with different opinions about, what the best themes are. I haven't used a theme specifically, so I don't have one in particular that I recommend. I have some plugins that I'll recommend in just a moment. But again, if that's going to be 100% what your site's about, a theme might be a decent solution. Just keep in mind that it won't be as flexible in terms of design and maybe some of the other things that you want to do. With the plugins, these are highly flexible because it's basically just kind of bolted onto your site. So whatever theme you're using, whether it's a Genesis theme or some other cool theme that you've got, with the plugin you can just bolt it on top of that. And the ones that I recommend there's one called WP Review. It's a free plugin made by this company that has awesome support support. I think it's in its like third or fourth iteration. It's really easy to use and install. And then the other one is called Author H Review, and basically that one is a little bit more robust. It allows you to do, the star ratings, the user ratings, editor ratings, and all of that. And then it does all those things that I talked about in the background, like with the metadata, where it automatically makes it so Google can understand that and understand, how to display that when people do searches and they arrive on your search snippet. So those are the tools that I recommend. Go ahead and talk about content publishing now.
Awesome. Before I do that, though, I do want to settle a burning argument, I think, that's been tearing through the affiliate marketing world. I'd like a show of hands or a vote on this. Coupon versus coupon. So coupon, let's see a show of hands. Okay, coupon. I think coupon won there.
It's my
Jeremy.
Utah accent.
So, yeah. I still think the debate will rage on, but... So, all right, so we're going to talk about content publishers. This is probably the part I deal with most, like on a day-to-day basis. We basically run an OPM agency. We help people, acquire affiliates and stuff like that. And most of the affiliates we end up acquiring are publishers of some sort. We'll have them do emails and things like that, but most of the stuff we do, they're running some sort of site, kind of like what Jeremy was talking about, with like review sites and informational sites and things like that. And we both help, in terms of the strategy and all that stuff, but also actually placing the ads. And we'll work directly with affiliates on their sites as well. And when it comes to placing ads on your site with WordPress, my opinion, you don't get much better than the Ad Rotate plugin. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but it sounds kind of like what it does, kind of like what it sounds like what it does. It basically allows you to easily place ads on your site and rotate between them. So there's essentially three tiers to the Ad Rotate plugin. There's the billing tier, what you're going to charge for that ad. As affiliates, of course, we're all typically doing CPA or CPS or CPL. But you can also do CPM and CPC ads in Ad Rotate. And you can do all three types of ads in the same exact ad unit. So you can run an affiliate ad, then you can do one that you charge per clicks, and you can do one that you charge per impressions. You can do an ad network like Google AdSense or something like that. And then you can also do, for the most part, as long as they're the same size, different types of ads in the same ad unit. So you can do graphic ads, text ads, again, embedded ads from third parties. And so what you do on the back end, and again, if you're not a developer, Ad Rotate is perfect for you. Even if you're a developer, because it would take you forever to code this stuff, there's shortcodes. Short code for ad unit 1, and you can plop that in a post. You can plop it in your sidebar, in your header, anywhere in your site. And they also have widgets, so you can literally go into appearance widgets, and you can click and drag the Ad Rotate ad unit in there. And then on the back end, you can manage your ad inventory, and that's where it actually gets really exciting. So, obviously you can rotate ads, right? It didn't take a genius to figure that one out. But you can cap the clicks that a particular ad gets. So you could throw an ad up and say, okay, don't let this ad get any more than 1,000 clicks. When it gets 1,000 clicks, cut it off. This is a test for a new merchant. You can just do the same thing with impressions. You can schedule ads. This is awesome. If you guys aren't A/B testing your offers, you certainly need to be A/B testing your offers. And one of the tricks with A/B testing an offer is, how do I remember to take it down? I'm going to let it run for a week, but I'm a busy person. I got a bunch of sites. How am I going to remember to take that thing down? You can have it shut down automatically, which is cool. But then again, you might forget that it's shut down automatically. Ad Rotate will email you when an ad goes offline. So you can use the plugin and be aware when your experiments are offline. Very, very good plugin and very well supported. I have direct contact with the plugin developers. They're very smart guys out of the UK. And then you can certainly set the size and type. Again, can't recommend Ad Rotate or similar plugins anymore for affiliates. If you're copying embed code and throwing it in your template files, or your widgets on your sidebar, and you're having to keep up with all that, don't. Ad Rotate's not very expensive. Go buy it and get the pro version, install it, and use the heck out of it. Because if you guys aren't testing your ads and scheduling your ads and trying different things, then you're not getting the most out of your affiliate sites. And I will give away one more prize, I guess, because I know we're getting somewhat close to the end. We did save some time for Q&A, because generally the session has a lot of questions in it. I'll give this last one away here, Mr. Jeremy. So this is a Lumo body tech. It basically buzzes you when your posture's bad. So if you have bad posture, answer this question. So Matt Mullenweg was the creator of WordPress. He created it in Houston, Texas, actually, about 3 miles from where I grew up. He's a little younger than me. But the next question is, after Matt developed WordPress in Houston, Texas, and he moved away, where did he move the company Automatic to? Where is Automatic based, the company behind WordPress? Yes, who said that? All right, this is yours. You can come up and get it, or that's fine.
Something else I wanted to mention too about this Ad Rotate plugin is this is kind of like next level affiliate marketing. For example, I get approached all the time by people for placements on our site. And if you have a tool like this, you can give them a more professional report and a more professional outlook on what you're going to do for them, right? Just like saying you're going to throw up a homepage banner and not really be able to track that or do anything with it, that doesn't really sit well with merchants. So being able to say, look, I have an ad manager, we're going to pop it in this placement, we're going to rotate it through the site with these 2 other creatives. It just makes you look a lot more professional and gives you a better chance to have those types of placements on your site. A company called AvantLink out of Salt Lake City or Park City, Utah, they just came up with some new pay for placement tool basically that allows you to buy placements on website, and this would be a perfect plugin for something like that. And I suspect a lot of other networks are going to start coming up with things like that too. If you don't mind, can I just mention one more thing because I don't want to forget this is kind of a tip that came up in my mind. The more that you can host your own creative, the better. And the reason for that is that when a merchant's creative goes offline or a network's creative goes offline or whatever, it can like make your site drag, can make your site look broken. So I highly recommend if you have your own banners and images and things like that, that you host them on your own site just so you kind of eliminate some of those other variables.
Great. Thanks, Jeremy. All right. My next tip is going to be, this is put CPA, CPL sites, basically people that are doing list capture. If you're selling leads to other people, if you're actually capturing it on your site and then selling it out. Anytime you're basically capturing information about a particular user, they're filling out a form. It's the lead-in plugin. If you guys have ever used HubSpot, which is not cheap, it's $1,000 a month, generally on the low end. Lead-in is basically a poor man's HubSpot. So everyone that fills out a form on your site, that registers on your site for a list or fills out some sort of lead form, they basically get logged in lead in, and then you can go see the behavior of just those visitors. This would be really good for affiliates who deal with high value products. So you have a mail list about high-end big screen TVs or something like that. Those visitors individually are very valuable and could represent a lot of commissions just even on an individual level. And this actually allows you to kind of dig in and see what pages they visited, what part of the funnels they filled out forms in, and what all the different types of activity that you would see through HubSpot. Maybe not all of it, of course. HubSpot's very, very deep, but I consider again lead in a poor man's HubSpot. It's actually very good. I use it on my sites. Next one, again, kind of in the CPA, CPL realm, again with like list management, member management, is marketing automation. In what I have seen, the difference between a super affiliate and a newbie is marketing automation, is your email list. How often are you emailing? What are you emailing? Why are you emailing? What are the rules behind the emails? What are you trying to accomplish? That's, I think, the biggest differentiating point that I see between super affiliates and people that are just starting out. The most popular tool in the affiliate space for marketing automation is Infusionsoft. There are other tools out there, but again, the folks that I know, at least as a majority, would use Infusionsoft. Certainly have hit my head against a wall a couple of times dealing with Infusionsoft, but as with any software platform. But again, like consistency through the industry and success with that consistency, Infusionsoft is definitely something you should check out. And it's not terribly expensive either, considering everything you get out of it. Next thing we're going to talk about are product feed sites, which Jeremy and I actually worked on a project together with. I think the screenshots from that, but he did a lot of development behind that and knows a lot about it. So I'll let him take this one.
Thanks. So the nice thing about a product feed site is it automatically gives you a lot of potential content to work with. The one thing I will preface, though, is that anytime you're working with any kind of a feed, whether it's a coupon feed or a product feed or whatever, you need to take the time to make that content content your own. You need to take time to bolt on some additional custom content. And the reason for that is the Google Panda update, basically. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. I know I've been smacked around by it a few times. Basically, what it does is it looks at your site and evaluates it and says, how unique is this to all the other content that's out there? And they have a really good algorithm that can kind of filter out what they consider to be duplicate content. So when you're using these tools that I'm going to recommend in just a moment, highly recommended that you take the time to add on additional content, pictures, videos, whatever it is that's going to make your site unique. So what I recommend for your product feed sites is called Pop Shops. Pop Shops is a plugin it's not just a plugin, but it's also a service. But they have a WordPress plugin, and it was built, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, and recently acquired by Rakuten, who also owns Linkshare. And the cool thing about this is it takes all of the product feeds from all of the different affiliate networks and all of the merchants and puts them into one single place. So, for example, if you want to let's say build a product comparison site, and you want to take, a pair of boots from, this site, and this site. You can basically build out a quick product page by adding it to your cart or adding it to your plugin or whatever, and displaying that on your site. So it makes it really simple to do product comparison sites. The other thing is it maintains all of the updated product information and quantities and things like that. So, for example, you'll find around Q4, people's pricing is very dynamic. It changes rapidly, and to have to write a script that goes back to a particular merchant's data feed and syndicates that and syncs that up with your site is a lot of work. You'd have to be a fairly high caliber developer to build something like that actually works right. But with Pop Shops, that's all taken care of. It's very simple. They also have some example integrations, some scripts and things like that you can just copy and paste onto your site if you want to use the service. So highly recommended for any kind of a product review or product comparison type site. The next thing we're going to talk about is community sites and membership sites. This is something that's probably maybe underutilized in the affiliate marketing community. People are more familiar with some of those business models that we talked about earlier, such as review sites, coupon sites, maybe product feed or product comparison sites. But affiliates out there who, know the value of community and know the value of having repeat visitors come to your site, might need plugins like this to make the site more sticky and get more engagement from those users. So what I recommend if you're building any kind of a membership or a community site are these essential plugins. So BuddyPress is basically built by the WordPress core team, or at least taken over by the WordPress core team, and it adds a lot of social features so that there's more information on people's profiles and some engagement features that makes it more interesting to come to your WordPress community site. And then one of the other sites that I recommend if you have any kind of a community site or really just any WordPress site is a site called WPMU, and that stands for WordPress Multi-User. WPMU Dev basically is a site where you can go and download all kinds of different membership plugins. So for example, if you wanted to charge for a subscription to your website, if you wanted to build a list, there's some marketing automation tools similar to what David was talking about earlier, though probably a little bit scaled down from what those are. And there's all kinds of tools. And so they offer one subscription. It's an annual subscription, somewhere around $200, $250 a month. Sometimes it goes on, or not a month, a year. Sometimes it goes on sale, but it's a really nice feature if you run a community site. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, we're going to jump into Q&A now. I did want to remind everyone, I guess I maybe forgot to even mention at the beginning, I wrote a companion article, if you forgot your pen and paper, that has a lot of these tips and links in it. If you go to bit.ly/WPASE 2014, you can just save that link and you can get a lot of the articles. The slides are here. Of course, they're also on the Affiliate Summit site, and we're ready for some Q&A. So first question.
Don't be shy.
Yes, ma'am.
No, there's separate plugins for IDX data, and so what I would recommend doing, I've actually helped a realtor build out a pretty custom solution using WordPress. Just Google IDX plugin for WordPress, and it's one of the top 3 results. I can't remember the specific name of it, but I would recommend that over something like Pop Shops for real estate.
Playster?
Playster? Okay,
Playster.
there you
And
go.
the question
Thanks.
was whether the product feed example that Jeremy provided would work with IDX. We have to repeat it for the video.
Yeah, thank you.
One other thing you can do, I don't know if there's a lot of people in the real estate niche in here, but another thing you can do, there are service providers that will give you kind of customized lists of IDX listings. And then what you can do with WordPress, and this applies for product feeds and anything in the affiliate niche, you do all your front-facing pages in WordPress, and then you can iframe their platform with the directory of all that stuff. We do that on the dev side for real estate. I'm not a big IDX integration fan. There are a lot of themes out there that'll do that, though. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Any recommendations about Amazon? Like, what's the best plugin to pull data about books?
The question was, what's the best plugin to pull data about books from Amazon? I've not ever run an Amazon affiliate offer for books. Jeremy, have you?
I have not. I know that there's some code samples out there that allow you to, just copy and paste some snippets to syndicate some data from Amazon. There's probably some plugins and themes also that incorporate Amazon data. I haven't done a lot with Amazon's data feed. They have probably the most robust and rich set of tools available for, product feed syndication and things like that. But I don't have a particular plugin or theme off the top of my head. But if you Google it, I guarantee you're going to find a bunch. One kind of copy and paste solution is like an Amazon store. You basically, just set the criteria for the store and like it will just give you a piece of code that you can copy and paste and you can integrate into your WordPress site. So there's probably, we could almost do its own session about Amazon and integrating it into WordPress. It's that large in scope.
Does Pop Shops include the Amazon product feed?
I was just thinking about that. I wasn't sure if Amazon products were included in there because there's literally millions and millions of products in Amazon. And so I know they're already managing tens of millions of products across all of the other merchants, but I wasn't 100% sure if Amazon was integrated. If it was, then Pop Shops would be a great solution.
Yeah, Pop Shops is great. They have all kinds of little widgets and stuff, and they have the plugin, of course, for WordPress. So you can quickly drop those things in. The other interesting thing about Pop Shops is if they don't have a product feed, sometimes you can ping them in the merchant and get it added. So we actually did that in the project we worked on. Yes, sir, your question.
This sort of relates to what I was going to ask. Pop Shops has Amazon Books and nothing else. I was going to ask you about Sellfire. It's very similar to Pop Shops, but their advantage is they have all of the Amazon products and you can integrate them with other merchants, which is
What was the name of the vendor you mentioned?
Sellfire.
Okay, so the gentleman mentioned that Sellfire does include the Amazon feed, which is similar to Pop Shops.
My question was going to be what your opinion was of Sellfire because they've had some big problems with their plugin recently, and my site's just more than crashed because of the Sellfire plugin, and they were great for a couple of years, but now they basically seem to have abandoned it. There's no support.
So,
Yep.
yep. So the question was basically that Sellfire has had some problems. You were asking our opinion of it. I haven't used it because as an OPM, I tend to only want my product feed in there, not everybody else's. That one project was the only time I dealt with Pop Shots directly. Have you dealt with Sellfire?
I've not dealt with Sellfire before. The only other data feed integrator that I've really worked with, of course, I've worked with custom feeds at the network level, but there's a company called Golden Can, and how they used to charge is basically, instead of like paying a monthly fee like you do with Pop Shops, they take like 1 out of every 4 affiliate clicks for themselves. And so, their tools are free and it's really easy to integrate, and they work with probably a lot of the same companies that Pop Shops does, but then rather than paying that monthly fee, you're essentially giving them a cut of your commissions. So if you're a really low volume site that doesn't have a lot of revenue to work with to buy a subscription to Pop Shops, which is about anywhere from $30 to $50 a month, somewhere in there, then Golden Cam might be a nice alternative. And then going back to your question about the Amazon books and if that was integrated into Pop Shops, I was Googling it while we're discussing, and it looks like it is. So it looks like Pop Shops would be a great solution there.
Excellent. Additional questions? Yes, sir.
What migration process do you guys recommend? With all these wonderful plugins and WordPress getting updated pretty frequently, I've heard a lot of horror stories about sites going down, whenever WordPress gets upgraded. So do you guys recommend some sort of staging process, or is there a hosting
I'll take
service that's particularly good at this to eliminate downtime?
Yeah, so the question was, WordPress updates all the time, plugins update all the time. What do you do? We charge people a bunch of money to fix broken sites that get broken by updates. WordPress by default, if I'm not mistaken right now, does auto updates. Most of the WordPress updates that we've seen recently have been somewhat safe. We do have a big update of WordPress coming up, though. Be prepared for this. 4.0 is coming out here in the next little bit, possibly by the end of the month. That could have a big impact on your site. We did have an update that came out just a couple of days ago. If you guys follow the Facebook group, I posted about it in there. It is a security vulnerability, and what you want to do is you want to log into WordPress and make sure you're running version 3.92. If you're not, you need to update WordPress right now. And 4.0, though, that was just a security patch update. 4.0 is going to be a fairly large structural update. So this could cause conflicts with your plugins, although most of the major plugin providers are preparing for this. It could cause problems with your theme. We don't really know, and you never really know, and that's kind of the point. So what do you do with updating plugins and themes? Like, people have this update paralysis, and we'll walk into sites that have been hacked left and right because nobody's updating plugins and themes and WordPress. And that's why you generally update. Matter of fact, remember when I said the release notes on the plugin? Whenever you see an update come out for anything on WordPress, read the release notes. If you see mentions of security in there, do it right away. If you see, oh, we added the Spanish language, okay, maybe skip that update. But as soon as you see a security one, definitely do it right away. So what should you do so that way you don't update a plugin or update WordPress and totally hose your site? You hit the nail on the head, and that's a staging server. There's a service called Stagecoach that'll give you a copy of your site essentially for staging. I think they have some tools for pushing it to production. We're also working on a similar service. There are hosts that will give you free staging servers. I don't know the whole list of them. I do know that WP Engine is one of those. They have a one-click staging button, so you can just click the one-click staging and it'll pull up a copy of your site. You can go mess it all up and then revert back to the original if you have a problem. You can also back up instantly when you're making an update, so you can kind of fall back to it. I don't think they do that with the version of WordPress, though, which was kind of really what your question, I think, was about. But they also do auto updates of WordPress. They also vet it. And I know other hosts do that, too. Like HostGator has a managed hosting option. They do some similar things like that. I'm just not personally as familiar with that. But you definitely need a staging copy of your website. Do not make major changes to your website and your live environment. You will get into trouble. But make sure you do those updates, because a lot of the times it's patching security holes, and they can be a really big deal. They can be things you don't even know are happening. I've got a friend of mine that speaks at another big online marketing conference with me, and he had white text porn links added to his homepage. He never saw it. His site was getting an SEO hit. He did a little digging and discovered he had a plugin vulnerability that had someone injecting porn links onto his non-porn website. Got him in a lot of trouble. I don't know if he ever recovered from that. And of course, I mean, site can be used to distribute malware. There's all kinds of crazy stuff, but definitely a staging server. Check out Stagecoach. Again, WP Engine has staging, or you can just spin up a second copy of your site on the host that you're at.
Yeah, I do something similar to that. I have like my own staging server, if you will. It's like beta.whatever.com, and it just allows me to test the update, make sure that everything still works, and when it does, when I'm confident, I just move the files over.
Yeah, but don't not update, like update. So, additional questions? All right, one more. Yes, sir.
During the development cycle, is there a way to pick a really low-cost web hosting service to build your site so that it's not recognized, no index, no follow, maybe just an IP address, and then move it over to a WP Engine when it's finished, so that you don't have high monthly costs, right, while you're doing development?
That's a really good question. So I have sites at multiple hosts. I have HostGator. I don't have WP Engine right now, but I've had WP Engine in the past. I have Liquid Web. I have Amazon Web Services. I have all of these different hosts that I work with for different projects that I'm working on. And what I recommend in that particular scenario is that you go with something like HostGator. And the reason for that is I think their hosting service is, it starts at somewhere like $4.95 a month. And oftentimes they'll run these sales where it's like 50% off. And so recently I bought a 6-month plan for like $23 or something like that. And that was for this exact reason, to kind of test some sites sites out, that I didn't want to spend the money at one of the higher end, high tier hosts, and it allows me to install multiple domains and things like that. So yeah, I recommend like HostGator and Bluehost are probably the budget hosts that you can get in for like, around $3 a month or so, to do that. And if you need a coupon, let me know. Coupon Tiger, just search for HostGator, 30% off.
And to hide it from search engines and everybody else, I guess, don't use a URL.
So
I actually know a decent amount about
yeah.
this. So there's a section inside of WordPress, I think it's the reading under settings, and it says discourage search engines from finding the site. That basically puts a robots.txt flag up that says no index, right? Don't forget to unclick that when you push live. Most of the times when I hear people like, oh, let's launch the site and the rankings went down, I was like, did you uncheck that box? The other thing is, if you're hosting it on a host that's a popular host, in particular with Google, I don't know anything about Bing or anybody else, and this isn't 100% with Google, but a lot of times those IP addresses they give you and like the subdomains, or it's like, accountname.domain.com, Google actually recognizes that as what they call a free host, and they will actually ignore those domains. It's not 100% of the time, so don't just go throw something up and say, oh, Dave said it wouldn't be indexed. But in a lot of hosts, that's actually true. There's like this free host designation, and their subdomains won't get indexed. And we know this because we have a host as a customer, and we weren't able to use subdomains for their site. They weren't getting indexed. We had to figure out why, and that was why. So.
Something else you can do if you just want one more layer is you can password protect the directory. So in Control Panel or cPanel or whatever, you select the directory and say password protect this directory. So what it does is it's kind of a technical term, but it uses like an HT access password or whatever to protect that directory. So now Google isn't able to crawl it. Because sometimes I found that bots, you can have no index, you can turn off don't index my site or whatever, but sometimes they still do. And so this is kind of like a foolproof way to do that, because they're not going to try and guess the password.
The other thing we'll do as a company is we actually have one staging domain. So it'll be staging.marketingclique.com or something like that, and then we'll install all the sites in a subdirectory. That can make it a little bit more crazy for the developers, but we robots out the whole subdomain. And so then every instance of a site we do after that is already robotsed out. So we have about 2 more minutes. We have time for one more question. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
It might be a stupid question, but why isn't GoDaddy mentioned at all for hosting?
I think it's just our experience.
I don't know if it would be fair for me to say why. Let me just put it this way. I was working with a company called Media Temple. GoDaddy acquired them, a year ago or something like that, and I stopped working with Media Temple. Not that GoDaddy's bad for registering domains, and I'm sure there are some people here that probably do like their hosting, but my personal experience with it wasn't very positive.
Yeah, and that's mainly what you'll end up hearing. It's also, there's a bit of a brand issue, like as a developer, to say, to my client, I'm going to host you on GoDaddy. Like, it would raise a lot of questions. I do know that they're working on doing some big things to move the company forward and do have some more reliable services, but right now, most guys like me are not recommending that. So, okay, great. Well, thanks everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.